So another day arrives, and apparently I'm still here. I don't really know why at this stage. I don't know what the point is anymore. I really don't. I'm just terrified. So this is what's happened. Nels is coming and just completely destroying Pip.
So I watched as, well, it's probably best to do it this way. Hang on a second. So that happened.
I feel quite bad because I promised Pip that I would make Nels pay for destroying her land, but actually it seems like Nels actually may be as much of a victim as we are. We assume that Nels was working with Quinns, but it seems like Nels is getting screwed by Quinns. In fact, it seems like Quinns is trying to screw everyone.
We've entered a time of peace in the Quinns Empire. I'd love to say this is thanks to me getting my hooks into all my neighbours like a social cat's cradle, but actually no one's attacking me because my war was such a mess, I've broken my own back. I'm now 2nd in Neptunian, 4th in territory, and worrying no one. I should probably stop calling myself an empire, but I'm not going to do that. Carnage all around me though. Pip's been skewered and Lee's deleted the app from her phone, although I forgot to turn off subterfuge notifications on my phone, meaning last night she was essentially haunted by the game as she kept waking up every hour to submarine pings, not sure if they were real or imagined. The horror.
Every night was the chirping, and then every morning I just reach for my phone and there would be a new hellscape of the colored numbers just marching toward me. I couldn't take it. And so Quinns was like, why don't you just gift your ships to Pip and then resign? And Pip being the only person in the game at this point who hadn't attacked me. I was just like, yeah, that's a nice idea. Tomorrow morning, I'll do that. On the morning of day 5, I woke up in a cold sweat, deleted Subterfuge from my phone, not properly resigning, nothing like that, just a real live rage quit. I just stone cold erased it. And then I capered around the apartment laughing like I'd lost it, or like I was summoning the demon of revenge. See, when Quinns invited me to play this game, he warned me, maybe you won't like it. It's a strategy game with a lot of numbers in it and stuff. You might not really understand how it all works, he says. It's not really your kind of thing, he says. And I was like, well, that's condescending. I'm an accomplished video game person in my own right. I'm going to join. I can do this. The thing is, I don't usually like strategy games, or numbers, or time. I don't really understand how it all works. I also don't really like submarines, or competition, or losing. I hate losing. Let me tell you, I do not lose games like this. I rage quit them because I don't understand how it all works and it's not really my kind of thing. But the legacy of my rage lives on in the game even now. I sent all my drillers to my one lonesome mine, Tangaroa. And Tangaroa was equipped with a sentry that would fire with determination and vengeful spirit on any drillers which approached it, even though I was long gone. The mad ritual dance of my quitting tantrum can be likened to a spirit living far below the abyssal plane, cursing the land all around it. Fire on, Tangaroa, on into a glorious military future, thou vengeful spirit. If I can't have you, no one can.
No one could really help me, and other people were getting attacked around my border, and that was when I realised that the game itself was making me incredibly sad. I think when the ship got to about here in my base, my proper heartland, I'm not proud of this, and I really hope that Nels doesn't take it the wrong way, but I burst into tears. I was having such a horrible time, and I was finding the game so stressful. It was just, and that, I think, was when I wouldn't have been able to defend myself, but I was actually just done with the game, the entire experience of the game. And I'd got a lot further than I have with 4X stuff before, because I understood a lot more of it. It's more streamlined, but yeah, that might have been an overreaction. But I mean, look how sad this whole situation is.
Pip sadly has resigned, I think after not having that exciting a time, and there is Pip territory that is probably quite critical. I can't get to any Pip territory, but other players can sort of nudge into this new neutral zone that's appeared now. And I think that's going to help them a lot. And I think that's going to help Chris and Joe possibly quite a bit. I might borderline trust Matt now. I don't know, because he seems to be having a very small breakdown.
As much as I said to Pip that I would look after her and try and defend her after her death, I now think I'm probably going to try and help Nels win, just because he's the only person. Yeah, he's the only person who hasn't been evil in a way. Like, he's been quite loyal to Quinns, and he's been shafted by Quinns. Brat is just a monster. Don't know who he is anymore. Used to know a guy called Chris Brat. No idea. Never heard of him. Maybe he was a kid who got hit by a bus or something.
My day began with some Metal Gear Solid level plot twist bullshit.
There's a part of me that's tempted just to come down and just stomp Quinns, just once and for all. He just effectively shafted me because he wanted to win. And part of me just wants to stop Quinns from winning now, just because he was so ruthless about doing it. And he ruined my game. Bloody Quinns ruined my game by attacking me so much. But maybe I need to talk to Quinns some more, because I get the impression that maybe Brat had been lying about what I'd been saying to him, and maybe Quinns had been giving Brat the impression that I was after his guts when I wasn't. So maybe I need to talk to Quinns.
Remember the Nice Alliance that I was invited to by Brat when I was at war with Matt? So I woke up this morning with Matt wanting to know everything I knew about that, because Matt was a founding member of the Nice Alliance, and he finally showed me the logo. So that was funny. I mean, to be honest, it's kind of nice to know that I was even the center of attention for a little while. And so we don't even know who's really in the Nice Alliance anymore. If I'm feeling generous, this is some low level MGS nonsense where we don't even know who Brat is double agenting. But I'm not feeling generous. What's actually happened is that the Nice Alliance, we've realized, is nothing more than 3 little words Brat says to you as he wraps you round his finger. Makes you feel special. He did it to Matt, he did it to me, and he's still doing it to Joe. And now he's sat there, still, unharmed, untouched, like a king cobra to the southwest of my territory with 500 drillers worth of poison in his fangs. The horrible part is he has so many drillers and so few actual conflicts that the coordination required to take him down is just not gonna happen. He's succeeded in building himself Fortress Brat, and the good news is that he's so content sitting in the shadows like Jafar, he hasn't started drilling Neptunium yet. And every day that passes makes his victory less likely. I don't even see him as a competitor at this point. He's left it too late. At this point, I think of Brat like weather. He's unpredictable, cold, emotionless, and capable of effortlessly tearing a hole in any of our houses.
Today is the first day I felt bad about playing this game. So you may remember yesterday I mentioned that I was betraying Matt. Not in a huge way, but it was a betrayal nonetheless. I gifted some submarines, some drillers to Quinns to help him defend against Matt, and he realised, like, pretty early on, as I expected, but he's taken it more personally than I would have hoped. But I get that, I think, because, for example, if Joe Scrabbles, who I've been in alliance with from day one in this game, we talk to each other all the time, my border with him is completely undefended, I trust him, even though this game is called Subterfuge, it's all about betrayal, I don't believe that he's going to betray me. If he did, I'm not sure how I'd cope with it, which is such an odd feeling, and this is only happening because I know him in person, he's my friend.
I just don't know what to do. I don't know if there's any point anymore. And I'm more than anything, I'm terrified of another betrayal. I don't think I can take it. If somebody else who I'm helping stabs me in the back again, I think I might never be able to love another human being ever again. But I guess that's my problem, isn't it?
And I feel bad about that. Weird. Anyway, the reason I betrayed Matt was to help Quinns defend against him. I needed him to buy me some time. Turns out Quinns is now already plotting to turn against me, I've since found out. So this whole thing was probably a series of bad decisions on my part. This game's not quite what I expected.
What a stressful, strange game. Still, I have to salute Brat for being evil, because Brat actually started in an almost identical situation to me. He started with Pip on one side, Paul on his other thing, then Joe, and there was a bit of Nels, but not really. It was basically Paul, Pip, Joe, and Quinns. So he was boxed in with these 4 people. Now he knew Quinns would probably be very combative, and I guess he didn't really know the measure of Joe, He probably guessed quite early on just because Paul was doing fairly erratic things with how he was sending ships. He was sending 1 or 2 and patches of 2 or 3, and it wasn't really an effective way to fight, if I'm being honest. So he realised that Paul wasn't really a threat. Pip wasn't she was bad at it, she just wasn't on the game very often, so he probably realised that she wasn't really a threat either. So the threats were Quinns and Joe. So you convince Quinns that you're allied with him, you convince Joe that you're allied with him, and then et voila, you basically have nothing. You have nothing. No threats. You can just grow. I'm going to talk to Quinns and I'm going to see what the deal is, because this may be an alliance that we can actually still keep together. If I can get a sense of what the deal actually is and how much Quinns' warmongering towards me has been influenced by Brat, then that would be good. But I wonder. This game, I mean, it's quite good, but also, fuck this game.
Matt's fuming at Brat's betrayal of him. In fact, he's so focused on Brat at this point, he's actually released my A-team that he captured, the infiltrator and the assassin I sent to kill his queen. So I sent him a nice email and I'll let him share that.
Dear Mr. Lees, I have received news that you have released my son from captivity and that he is on his way home to our waters now. I would like you to know that you have made the boy's family very happy and that I consider you a most noble human being. Your capacity to conduct this war with dignity shall surely be an inspiration to all kingdoms under the sea. On the next occasion when I hear the pot women partaking in gossip with regards to you at my factory, I shall not believe a word of it. I have enclosed the only lithograph I have of my son. We had it done when he was just a boy. I can tell you that I have held it to my breast for the last 3 nights, fearful that it would be the only means by which I would see him again. I send it to you now as a gesture, for I shall no longer be needing it. Thanks to you, Master Lees.
The bizarre thing that's happened is that somehow, through fighting a war where both of us were prudent and dangerous and both of us agreed to a ceasefire when it made sense, I kind of respect Matt now. And I wouldn't mind him winning half as much as some of the other players. And I wonder if I've generated the same currency with him. I wonder if he has a soft spot for little old Hitler Quinns. On the subject, I was thinking about attacking Nels down here at Garfield. I was researching it, but now Brat's muscling into Nels. Nels has withdrawn from Garfield because he trusts me so much. So now I can't attack Garfield because that was such a sweet gesture from Nels and I have a soft spot for him. I've been lunging towards first place like some kind of rabid kangaroo for this whole game, and it's done nothing but exhaust me. I'm starting to think the secret to Subterfuge is to be a kingmaker and be happy with second place. That'll still bump you up the game's leaderboards and you won't have an aneurysm.
Remember how I was saying that there are so many words, that it's just a game where people talk a lot? And now things are actually happening in the game, which include Chris and Joe showing their true colours that were always there, where they're now just, they've been sort of silently being nice and affable, and now all of a sudden they're sending drillers all over the place. Quinns is being Quinns by saying, oh, I need help, while also being top of the scoreboard. And Matt is being Matt by saying, no one trusts me, which is your own fault, Matthew, because in every game ever, you're untrustworthy, and this is what happens. It's why nobody trusts you.
I don't really know what day it is anymore. I don't really know what's going on, but I feel better. I felt really rough over the weekend. You probably saw it in the last few diaries. I felt really rough. There was a point at which I was just going to rage quit. Not even rage quit, like sad quit. Just be like, what is this game? And I've worked out what this game is now. This game is effectively like being waterboarded by your teenage years again. This idea of, if you play it with friends anyway, this idea of all of these people who you know and like, and just being convinced that somehow everybody's talking about you behind your back and that people don't actually really like you. And it's quite sad and quite maddening. And you have to you have to have a degree of trust in this game. You have to believe people because of the way that the mechanics work. It has this mechanic whereby your factories are all split and they produce a number of troops, but you hit the unit cap, which means that if you want to have a large army in one place, then you have to trust your allies, basically. You can't do it. If you want to have a huge army on one side, then the only way you can do that is by having nothing on the other side. You can't have a big territory and a thin smatter of troops. It just doesn't work. So there comes a point where you have to trust someone. And when we've chosen one enemy and you're going at them, you have to trust that the people behind you are your friends. And unfortunately, it's a game whereby you inherently cannot trust that, because you just can't. It's how the game is built. It's horrible. It's really horrible. But I feel better about it now, and I'm still in the game. And I just don't know what I'm going to do, really.
Finally, a word now about generators. When our game started, I thought they were unquestionably a poorer bit of territory than factories. Why would you ever have a generator when you could have a factory? Marginally bumping up your max unit cap. Rather than get more units, it's a no-brainer. The reason, my friend, is because of days like this. For the last 4 hours, I've been sat with 4 factories and a foreman doing nothing! Nothing! This is the period when I should be stockpiling submarines that could keep me safe, or helping me get Lebensraum, which is a lovely German term I just found out for territory that's vitally important for your continued survival. You better believe I'll be using that word in future, because tomorrow, my friends, I begin my machinations against Brat. Oh yes, Brat, I've seen your Fuck Quinns banner. It's very nice, and I'm going to strangle you with it.
So Quinns has given up being Hitler and is now into strangling. I don't know if that's better. Thank you very much for watching Subterfuge Diaries. If you've enjoyed this, you can go to coolghost.net and talk about it, or you can think about supporting our videos by going to patreon.com/coolghosts.